Okay, it says we're streaming.
And we are, because I see us. Okay.
You see us. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm Lauren Cadillac, and that is Bree Bethancourt.
Hi, everybody.
And we are here on Signature Block, and so glad you could join us. We have a fantastic guest today. Her name is Lisa Begley. And
hi.
Hello, Lisa. Good morning.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, Bree.
Hi, good morning.
Lisa is our bookkeeper at Cadillac Law. And she has become, by way of that job, a bit of an expert, as much as anyone can be right now, really, about PPP loans. Bree, did you get a PPP loan?
I did. And I just applied for the forgiveness. So we're going to talk about that?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that.
Oh, you've already done your forgiveness app. Okay.
No, well, I applied for it, but I haven't been.
Okay.
Forgiven.
That's what we're going to be, one of the many things we're going to be talking about, because Cadillac Law got a PPP loan, and we have not yet done the forgiveness. Part of that is because what we'll get into today with Lisa is like, we just kind of really don't know what's going on. So
nobody does.
I can't even talk about what a headache it gives me, how we have absolutely no leadership in our country.
It's stressful.
It is stressful. And I don't know about you, but I have felt a trickle-down effect. I've seen the courts do some really wacky things lately that I feel like they wouldn't have done if we were still like following the law, or if we still had rules, or if we had any kind of leaders or anything like that. And it's not good.
It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
Exactly.
And the fact that we are in this limbo with this PPP loan, and I mean, we're talking thousands upon thousands of dollars, and you have no clue, or at least I don't. Maybe Lisa can shed.
I think you might know more than me, having already applied. So I might like to ask you some questions about how your process went.
I'm absolutely happy to share. I did it myself, so I don't want anybody to take this as any type of advice that you should follow. But I'll tell you what I did and how I did it and why I did it.
Okay, can I ask you some questions like right now?
Okay, wait. So Yes. Let's just jump right into it. Let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with the really basic. What was your approximate loan amount, and when did you get your loan?
It's about $13,000.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Lisa, as we're going through these questions, are these questions that everybody who got a PPP needs to answer?
Absolutely. These are questions that they're going to need to answer, and they're also going to need to do different things depending on the answers to these questions. There's different application processes, different rules, different things you have to provide. In the case of when you got your loan, there's also an option for a different covered period. There's also a different covered period, I believe, for seasonal businesses, but of course, you're not a seasonal business, so I know almost nothing about that.
Hold on. I think
there's a lot.
I think if we want to best benefit our viewers and listeners, I think we should kind of go through it so they can write these down. And I'm going to take notes of what you need to think about and put it in the comments when the show is over, so everyone can have that information. But Lisa, if you'll kind of work through it slowly so that everyone who's going along can go along with Bree, and we could go through it. And Bree, as much as you're willing to share in your private information about your business.
Right.
Okay, let's ask you anything personal.
When and how much? And then what's the next question that borrowers are going to have to answer?
So they're going to look at when and how much. How much is going to decide which application they need to use. Right now, there's a simplified application process for loans, I believe, under, I want to say $150,000. And then there's a $2 million cap on that application across all of your businesses. So if you have a bunch of businesses and you got a bunch of loans under $50,000 and it's over 2 million in the aggregate, you cannot use that simplified form. So there's a lot of intricacies to the amount, but if you're just like us, you got one PPP loan, it's under $50,000, you're looking at a much simpler form.
Okay.
So mine was absolutely under 50,000. Like I said, it was 13. I got it in August. I fell under that range, but I think it was a 24-week range or something like that. And then I had to have used it because I'm a true solo in my law firm. I have independent contractors, but I'm a true solo for my firm. So because of that, I was able to use it as from what I read. Now, Lisa, tell me if I'm wrong, but I was able to use it as income over a 2.5-month period. And then I had to apply for the forgiveness by December, by the end of this month. So I did it like maybe last week or the week before.
Okay. I don't know about the deadline part. That might have been different for your loan. I'm not 100% sure, but right now, as far as I know, there's no hard deadline.
Well, let me ask this. Bree, what bank did you use?
So I did this really late, y'all, because hold on, we're streaming on my phone. I'm sorry. I did this really super late, and we're still streaming on my phone. Okay, I'm gonna just take that off. So I did it super late. Like I did it like at the very last minute, because I didn't understand it. I wasn't sure if I needed it, and even if I didn't need it, should I do it? And like it was one of those things where I think a lot of business owners it was scary. There was not a lot of information on it. It was scary. And I was like, I don't want any smoke, right? I don't want any smoke. So I did it at the very last minute. And I think I went through Bluevine. Somebody told me just go through Bluevine. And I went through Bluevine and it was like super
online
easy.
or something?
Yes, I've seen it several times throughout when all this started. A lot of people have used Bluevine.
Okay.
I guess it's like an online bank. I don't know what it is, y'all.
So
but,
we went the traditional route. Like okay. When the guy from the SBA was on the news update things that they were doing every day for a while there, and he was like, call your banker. That was like a Saturday, and like I have my banker in my machine, and I immediately texted him and I was like, bro, that money is mine, right? Not to say that everyone should be calling their banker bro, but like he is my bro. So
it is what it is, right?
So the minute it came available at Frost, he contacted me. And that right there, that was like one of the things I did when I started my firm. I know this is kind of a tangent, but one of the things I did is I listened to this podcast, and the podcast said you go meet a banker and you make a relationship with a banker. Okay. And that's what you got to do. And I did that in 2016 when I started my firm. Okay. So I texted him in 2020. I was the first person to apply, and I was the first person to get money from Frost. Okay. So there's really power, like that whole go make friends with a banker thing. That is real. That is legit. Great advice. Might be a little more difficult now. So we had a little bit different, I think, and Lisa, you know the answer probably. It depends on where you applied through, what the full application will look like for forgiveness. Is that right?
Yes, it might look a little bit different. If you look at the SBA website, there is though a PDF form that you can look at, and that'll give you a good guide as to the kind of things you're going to need to fill out and what you'll need to provide. You're going to need to look at probably the loan documents for when you obtain that loan. There's going to be a loan number and also an SBA number that you're going to need, among a million other things. So that's the really basic stuff that you're going to need to start getting together, whether or not you're ready to apply.
So Bree mentioned the 24-week thing, and I know when you got our notice of application for Cadillac Law, we started talking about it. Tell us what the two things are and what the differences are and who uses what, please.
Okay, so in your case, you got your loan on, I believe it was April 20th. So on June 5th, there were some changes in legislation that extended the covered period from 8 to 24 weeks, because initially you had to spend that money in 8 weeks. So that change was made on June 5th. So for loans received before June 5th, you actually have the option of choosing an 8-week period over the 24-week period, which of course that's going to depend on your individual situation, your loan amount, and your expenses as to whether you use 8 or 24 weeks. There may be an advantage to using 8 weeks if you can achieve forgiveness in that period.
Bree, you said you had the 24 week, is that right?
I think so. I don't remember, y'all. I think so. I had the 24. What I do know, what I do know is I had to use the money in 2.5 weeks. I had to use it for my payroll in order for me to be able to apply for the forgiveness and for all of it to be forgiven. So
Okay.
that's what I had to do. Now, how much time? But I also applied after that certain, like she says, they changed something.
Right. Yeah.
I applied late.
Oh, yes. So we have different scenarios. Like I was pre-June, you're post-June.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good. And then hopefully that covers anyone who could be watching so they can know for themselves.
And there's another difference here, which I haven't really looked into, and it sounds like there's a completely different calculation of expenses for a sole proprietor, because there are actually limits on certain kinds of compensation that are built into what you're looking at, like owner employee compensation is capped at a certain amount. It sounds like for a sole proprietorship that they're going to look at that a little bit differently because there aren't W-2 wages. So if you're not paying employees, it does sound like it looks quite a bit different.
Yes.
Interesting. And so, Bree, as a general rule, do you pay yourself as a W-2 employee, or are you just getting your K-1 at the end of the year?
Interesting question, because I'm actually going to see my CPA right after this.
Oh.
Because I incorporated. So I incorporated, and as of January 1st, I will be moving forward as a corporation.
Okay.
And will be absolutely providing paychecks to myself at that point.
Okay. I've been on my payroll since I've had payroll practically. I had a few employees at first that I 1099 when I was working on my house, but once I moved to an office by January of 17, I had a payroll. And so I'm a W-2 employee of my company.
Mm-hmm. And I will be January 1st moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But you won't get a K-1. You will get, profit. Shoot. I forgot what they're called. Dividend. You'll get owner dividends at the end of the year in your profit. And because I have an LLC, I get a K-1 because the sales tax runs through the LLC through me.
Well, I have LLC as well.
Currently.
So I have LLC right now, and then it'll be an S Corp, LLC S Corp, January 1st. Oh, that's how I will be running it as an S Corp January 1st, and we'll be on payroll as a W employee.
I do mine that way too.
Yeah.
I have a good accountant as well, or I did at least.
So I'm glad you said that, because part of the limitations on compensation relate to owner employees, specifically of S corporations. And I believe this applies to LLCs, taxes, S corps as well. So for the 8-week period, your owner employee compensation is capped somewhere between 15 and 16,000. But for the 24-week period, it's actually capped somewhere between 20 and 21,000.
Oh, so Bree, in your scenario, you could use either period.
No, I think Bree had to use the 24-week because it was after August. But I think that there's a limitation to 2.5 months worth of income, equivalent to 2019 income in her situation.
Yes, that's exactly correct.
Okay. And Lisa, what was that thing we were talking about? We're like, I'm going to get taxed on this.
So right now, nobody should do anything until there are some changes that come down, because right now, I think in the new CARES Act, they're looking at making the expenses deductible. But as of right now, the loan forgiveness is not taxable as income, but the expenses paid with the loan proceeds are not deductible.
Okay, so if you, now I don't think this applies in Bree's situation because it sounds very much like she earned all of that as income. But if you got a PPP and you used it to pay some owner income, some rent, some light, overhead, utilities, so on and so forth, what you're saying is instead of last year where we would deduct all of those expenses against our income, those earnings, this year we're not going to be able to do that. Is that correct?
So far, that is correct. Again, that is one of the many changes they're looking at making, which is to say that the expenses paid with those funds are going to be deductible. But until that happens, you should plan to not be able to deduct any expenses that you submit as part of your forgiveness loan package.
So to business owners like myself and Bree, would you say that we should just go ahead and file an extension on our taxes now?
Without getting too far in the weeds on tax advice, I would say that would be something to evaluate with your CPA. But if you don't think it's going to cause you a bunch of interest and penalties, it might be worth it to file the extension, wait and see what happens. I think we'll start to see some movement after January 20th. Of course, we'll have a different presidential administration and maybe a different Senate. So until then, I think it's really hard to say what will or will not happen. We just have to wait and see.
Okay. So then let me ask you this, because I did it through Blue Vine, they sent me an application way before I actually filled it out. Like I said, I just filled it out last week, and that's because procrastination is hell. So, but it was my understanding that I had until December, the end of this month, to fill out this application. So for others like Lauren, who have not gotten the forgiveness app yet, I wonder what the disparity is. Is it, because I've heard a lot of other law firms say that depending upon who they went through, some didn't get an application yet, have no clue what's going on. Others got the application, submitted it, and have been approved, and they're forgiven. And so, I mean, like, what is? Yeah,
it really does vary from bank to
Where is
bank.
that on top of it?
It really does vary from bank to bank, but the applications began becoming available on, I think, October 31st.
Okay.
I know that we've received ours, and of course, I already started looking at it, which is what we're talking about today. I know a lot of people haven't received theirs, though. If you think you can achieve total forgiveness of your loan, though, based on the expenses in that covered period and the current guidance, you should go ahead and apply for it and see what happens. One other thing for loans under 50,000, though, is that it is possible, but I don't know how likely, that they will make forgiveness of such loans automatic. So you may or may not have to go through an application process at all. So there's just so much up in the air, and it is a really case-by-case analysis.
I can't stand it.
Cadillac law was under the 50,000 threshold. Okay. So for us, you know, I don't know if you know how I play my student loans, but I'm playing the long game bet on that one too. So I'm like, we're going to wait. We're going to see. Hopefully they do a thing where if it's under 50K, it just disappears, you know. But we have the app and we're gathering the information. So if we need it, it's going to be available. But for you, you have a little bit of a different situation than I do, because you are simply just you. So all of the money is, the way all of the requirements and everything turned out, it sounds like yours is going to be waived either way. Mine is a little different because I have a staff and other stuff I don't fully comprehend. So it's, I think, a benefit to us. So I think what Lisa's saying is, if you're someone like Bree, where it's like, it's going to go away now, if you apply now, then go ahead and apply now. Right. Do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you're someone like me, where you might end up paying tax on pieces of the money, essentially, or having to pay some of it back, it's worth it for me, I think, to take the gamble of waiting until
I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I definitely hustled into the money, and you were a little more cautious and conscientious, I think. But I was like, free money, hand it to me, let's go.
Yeah, I was like, free money. No, money don't grow on trees. What's the ties to this? I don't understand this.
We had, and I'm like, dude, they're just giving money away, and you're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, go get that government cheese, girl. Understand. I get where you're coming from, and it's funny because we're the opposite on the two ends. But again, you have so like all the people, Lisa, who went and got the PPP that are like hairdressers or Uber drivers or all the people that ended up qualifying kind of more of like the gig type economics, those people are going to be a lot more like Bree, and it's a lot more likely that they're going to be fully forgiven now, right?
I guess it would depend on the loan amount, but I would think so. Again, it's a case by case analysis, but I think you're right.
And so I know we just talked, and this is a shameless plug, but we just talked a minute ago that the PPP forgiveness application is a service you're offering, right?
Yes, absolutely. If you feel like you need help analyzing your needs for the PPP loan forgiveness application, please call us. We would love to help you. We have already spent so much time gathering this information, and we would love to benefit you with it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how do they contact you?
What now?
How do they contact you?
You can call us at 972-845-1200.
Nice. Thank
Awesome.
you.
And Lisa, that is a Dallas number, I know, but you're not in Dallas, and whoever needs our help doesn't have to be in Dallas. If you're hearing this in New Jersey, they can call you, right?
That's absolutely right. They might want to talk to their accountant about the state tax implications and whatnot before going through with anything, though, because of course we are not equipped to give state tax advice in all 50 states. We are equipped to tell you all about your PPP loan forgiveness, though.
Excellent. Awesome. I really think that this has been valuable information, and I'm glad we got to have this discussion. Bree, how do you feel? How do you feel about what you just learned? How's that make you feel?
It makes me feel good in my soul. You know, Lisa, I think that's very valuable information. I think it puts people like me and everybody, people that are not like me, at ease, right? It puts everybody at ease because there is so much unknown out there. And so it's nice to at least understand a little bit of something of how it's kind of going, you know? So it helps, it would definitely help me sleep at night as I sit here with my fingers crossed, waiting for this application to be approved.
Right. I hope
it was easy. The application was easy. The only thing I had to provide them was my bank statements. So what I did was, once I got the money, I deposited the entire funds in a separate account that had no other funds in it, right? And I did nothing with it, so that it'd be easier bookkeeping for myself, right? And then the 1st and 15th, I would just remove for payroll, whether I used it or not, whether I put it in a whole nother bank account, whatever I did with it, right? Mm-hmm. I just made sure that it was clear that I was taking it out 1st and 15th regularly, so you could see my pattern. So hopefully that just for anybody else out there that is looking to do this, my suggestion would be put it in a bank account, create a new bank account, put it in there, so it's easy to see where the money is going. Would you agree, Lisa? Because I might be stepping into your lane. I'm sorry.
I think it just depends on how the funds are used. So in Lauren's case, of course, she had employees that she was paying on payroll. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to have to do, rather than looking at the bank statement to determine how the money was spent, we're going to have to look at payroll reports and things like that. And we're also going to have to get into non-payroll expenses that qualify. And there are a few, like a rent or a mortgage payment, or your utility payments like power, internet, water, things like that. However, non-payroll expenses are capped at 40% of the forgiveness amount.
As of today.
As of right now. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Nothing will happen tomorrow. I mean, at least, everything is up in the air, but at least we now have the comfort and security of knowing nothing's going to happen until January 20th. Like, it's chaos and in the air until at least that. You know what I mean? Like, so
to that, eat Christmas cookies and wait.
That's it. Okay. Well, that's good stuff, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So Lisa, this show is not just about business, although it is. It's really hopefully geared for entrepreneurs or people interested who already have their own business or want to start their own business or something like that. Bree and I are both business owners. But it's also about talking about and discussing the struggle and overcoming it and what got people to where they are. So, you know, Bree and I are both single mom entrepreneurs. So that's something I am quite proud of, and I'm proud of Bree for doing it. And so as much as we want to talk about math,
I don't mind.
we want to talk about you.
About me.
Yes, about you.
Well, as an only child of the parents who were high school sweethearts, I lived in the same house my entire life. I don't know that I had a lot of early life adversity, but I am a lefty. So the physical world is not at all designed for me. So that's my little tiny nugget of struggle. And Lauren, I know it really freaks you out to see me do things with my left hand.
Bree, do you use your right hand like a normal human being? Yeah. Like lefties do this thing, and that freaks me out.
That's exactly how my dad writes.
This is how they
No joke.
Bree, you've seen them with their curves like a Tyrannosaurus.
I need to see it right now, Lisa.
Lisa,
It's pretty normal. It's not the bad.
Barack Obama did it too. Barack Obama signed a law, like with his little claw, like, ugh.
Hey, but a lot of presidents have been lefties, so we must be pretty great, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, except your claw hand.
Did you know that it was actually illegal to be left-handed in Albania at some point in the 20th century? I kid you not.
Well,
Illegal.
it makes sense. Like the reason my mom was like really angry about we had to be right-handed. And I remember when my sisters were in high chairs, they would like reach with their left hand and she would grab the spoon out of their hand and force their right hand. I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, it is a very difficult world to live in when you're left-handed. And I don't want that for my children. So it's not that it doesn't make sense for that to be illegal, but it makes people believe that. Like and honestly, like I don't want my kids to be lefties. I'm not gonna lie. At least I have a lot of lefties who I really care about in my life, but when they do this, I'm not trying to watch my kid do that.
We also always have ink like all over the side of our hands. It is inescapable. It's the worst.
When I was in law school,
extra dangerous.
And I sat next to a lefty in law school always in our classes we had together. And she was on my right and she sat till I was on her left, because then we could keep a piece of notepaper and share notes.
Oh, that's nice.
To each other and no one would know. But she didn't curve her arms, so she was tolerable to sit.
She would quit doing that with y'all.
The lefty club.
Okay, Lisa. So Lisa, I'm curious.
And
So I know now that you're a lefty. I know that your company provides PPP forgiveness help, but what else does your company do?
We also offer bookkeeping services for sole proprietors, small businesses. We are starting to open up for tax prep. So we're looking forward to the 2021 season, and we're just looking to branch out from there. We just really want to help small business owners spend more time doing what they're good at and letting us focus on the paperwork, which is what we're very good at.
So explain to me, help me, which by then, would help everybody else. Explain to me like why a business would need a bookkeeper.
So let's say you own a small bakery and it's just you and maybe your kid. So you need to focus on getting the bread ready in the morning, getting the dough approved, running the cash register, taking the money. When all that is done, you don't have time for the paperwork. And there are a ton of ways that you can hook up your point of service payment systems to QuickBooks Online and let us manage that for you. It's just much more time effective when you hire somebody that does this on a regular basis rather than trying to figure it out yourself. And then they can kind of put together an accurate picture of your income flow, help you, with cash flow planning, all kinds of things. So there's a lot of benefits to hiring somebody that knows how to do specifically bookkeeping.
And so if somebody never had a bookkeeper before wants to call your office at that number that you gave earlier, wants to inquire about signing up with you, what can they expect when they call your office to inquire about, hey, I think I need a bookkeeper. What, can you help me?
Sure. So what we're going to do is evaluate the volume of their business, how many transactions they're handling, and what their specific needs are. And then we can decide what we need to provide for them, whether that's monthly services or if they just wanted us to do something periodically, like quarterly reconciliations and statement review. So we can build something for any budget.
And just to clarify, you are not a CPA, correct?
I am not a CPA. I am studying to take the exam to be an enrolled agent. So I am really gathering some tax knowledge. So I'm hoping to put that to use in the filing season this year.
Awesome.
I want to add too that my goal in my business is to grow and get bigger and have lots of employees and so on and so forth. And we have some clients who have very similar goals. And one of the great reasons to have a bookkeeper, and particularly to use Lisa, is because once you have an idea of like a year's worth of income and expenses and that kind of thing, you can start to find patterns. And through those patterns, you can start to do marketing, targeted marketing, right? Based on, okay, well, for Bree, I know you do divorce and you do family law and you do entertainment mainly.
Yes.
So I'm sure if you looked at a calendar of income, you would see ebbs and flows, like divorces go up after the holidays because people are sick of their partner.
Yes.
They go up at the, after the Super Bowl, whatever, right? So now you can plan your marketing and start targeting so that during those times, you have marketing going out for something you already know is generating income, right?
Right.
It's going to be a high generator.
Right.
I'm an MBA. And so I like to study those patterns and help people grow their business. And that's how you grow your business. So I just had a meeting the other day looking at something that Lisa keeps for me, which is a spreadsheet which shows my income year over year.
Okay.
It's got a graphic that shows me a chart. I can see the ebb and flow of every month. I know what each month is, in terms of my business. Property tax protests are these months, these are these months, so on and so forth. And so I sat down with my marketing team with that on one screen and a marketing calendar on another and said, okay, here we go. So we know we're going to get hired for these things in these months. When do we start running the campaigns, so on and so forth.
I like that.
So
I like that. And I know that so your goal and my goal are completely two different goals. And I'm sure, Lisa, right, you can help with whatever. So where you want to get bigger and hire more employees and grow, I'm not looking to hire. I don't want a lot of employees. I actually want to stay small while increasing my capital, right? So I want to cap my cases, family law cases, at a certain amount of cases. And then I want entertainment to, grow and whatnot. Because what I do doesn't take, like I said, I have independent contractors. So I work with a lot of other attorneys and I just, that's how I do mine. And so Lisa, you would be able also to help somebody like me, right? My type of business.
Absolutely. It's all about the numbers. Once you have your books in order and you can start doing what Lauren said and kind of charting your progress, so to speak, you can see where those trends are and see what your opportunity areas are, see where you're slower, and you can start to build plans around that.
Awesome. Okay.
And you can build a budget too. I mean, as a bookkeeper, Lisa can go back and say, okay, you need this amount every month. So every Monday she sends me a list. She's like, here's what you need to make the bills by Friday, right? She can do that for any business owner. Like, here's what you need to do and here's your budget. We have a client who can, God bless him, I love him, but money burns through his damn hands, right? So part of Lisa's job going into 2021 is creating a budget for him. Whether or not he decides to stick to it, though, that's on him, right? But he's going to create a budget. And so to your point, Bree, where you're wanting to really be conscientious of expenses and watch for growth in capital and really focus on those things, that's something that she's going to be able to help you do. I really couldn't imagine doing that alone personally, but I really can't. So.
Okay.
I can't imagine doing both parts of it alone. And that's the really intimidating part. Being a business owner is already enough. You really need that help.
You do. And I'm a big fan of hiring the people to do the job. You don't have to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and you probably shouldn't do it all yourself.
Mhm.
And so at some point, as a business owner, you're going to have to let go, and you're going to have to hire the professionals to do that part of that job, to keep your business going, to keep your numbers growing and clientele growing and whatnot.
You know how I got over that, Bree, that I'm going to do it all myself kind of thing? I had clients who wanted to do legal work themselves. And I'm like, if you just hired a lawyer to do it, like I wouldn't be on the back end cleaning up this mess.
Mhm.
Then I thought, Lauren, you know, you're not a hairdresser, so color your roots. I'm not a mechanic. I'm going to hire a mechanic when my car is broken. I am obviously not a bookkeeper. So I'm going to, as a professional, I need to hire other professionals. I, of all people, and you know, we of all people should know that and see the value in that. That's what we're selling to potential customers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? And I'm glad Lisa's on. I'm glad we had this talk today, because while people throw around, I'm a bookkeeper, nobody really understands what a book, what do you do? What does keeping the books mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that entail? How does that benefit me? How will this grow my business? And so it's nice to talk to you about that, and kind of, you know, get that out there, so that when people see it, and when people, you don't know that you need it if you don't know what it is, right? So
Absolutely.
it's nice to have this discussion with you, Lisa.
And if you don't know what your bookkeeping needs are, because you are a baker and not a bookkeeper, it's really hard to know if you're keeping your books in a way that's going to benefit you at the end of the year when it's time to file your taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it, all of it.
So Lisa, tell us again how people can get a hold of you.
So if they would like to call me, they can call 972-845-1200, and I'm at extension 2. Or if you want to email me, my email is lisa@cadillaclaw.net.
Okay. And we might as well take this time, Bree, give us a shameless plug for you.
Absolutely. As I wear my It's a Lawyer hoodie. So you guys can, my name is Bree Bethancourt. I'm the owner of the Bethancourt Law Firm. I provide services in entertainment law as well as family law, and I do business contracts. You guys can find me on Instagram at issa_lawyer. You can also find me on Facebook at the Bethancourt Law Firm. You can give me a call at 1-833-4-BREE Law. That's the number 4, BRI Law. Thank you.
Awesome.
I have that number memorized. It's so 1-833-4-BREE Law.
That's it. That's it. Call me.
Ooh, I love that. It's like I can, but like, how do you reach Bree? I'm like 1-833-4-BREE Law.
1-833. That's gotta make it easy for the people.
You do that, Bree. You do that very well. And Lisa does too. I mean, Lisa, to be honest, hasn't been on with Cadillac Law for quite very long, but man, I've not missed a beat. None of my bills.
How did you find her? Through Nathan? Look, I'm like, through Nathan?
So Lisa is the wife of our friend Nathan, who went to law school with us, Bree, and has my birthday. And after law school, I'm in Dallas. Nathan was moving up to Dallas for work, and so he came and stayed with me. And then Lisa moved up, and she stayed with us, and we became very close friends. This is all around the time my daughter was born. This is about 8 years ago. So I've known her for quite a while. And that I did meet her through Nathan. They now live in North Carolina. So, you know, when you're hiring Lisa, you might not actually get to breathe on her for a while. She'll come to Dallas when, you know, here and there, but we really like this I really like this thing.
I love it. I love it.
I love this. So I don't know what to call this, but I love this.
Not being breathed on by German people.
The whole virtual thing. I love this, y'all.
I just love it so much. Yes.
Now, fun fact,
it's March.
Well, look, I have been virtual for a while. I've been virtual since July of last year. So before the COVID, I was virtual.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
But it was hard to sell that to clients who
Yeah.
felt that they needed to touch me and look at me. And I was like, you don't, but you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why am I going to pay all this overhead to look? I don't want to look. We don't have to look at each other. We just don't. Like, you can email me the documents. I can email them back. I've gotten e-signature. Like, I had all this set up. So when COVID hit, for me, it was...
You were fine.
I was good. I was ready a long time ago. So
you're ahead of your time.
Yes.
Way ahead.
So when this happened, I feel like now it's easier for me to say, no, I'm not coming to the office. I'm gonna call you, okay? And they're like, okay. And I love it. I just love it.
Our client who needs a budget, he was like, I want to meet her, da da da. I was like, okay, we'll meet on Zoom. And he sat on his couch in his living room. I sat here, and Lisa was in her office in North Carolina. And it felt like we met, right now it feels like we're all hanging out together. So I love it.
We're all wearing way comfier pants than we would be otherwise.
Well, except for me, because I have to go see my CPA and point.
Oh, well, yeah. I haven't seen a zipper since the pandemic.
Elastic is like the greatest thing. I mean, really. So, I can do my job this way. Bree can do her job this way. Lisa already told us that you can connect something in your point of sale machine that goes into the internet thing, and then she can log in North Carolina and do everything, all her magic. Yeah. It's all jazz hands from here.
Spirit fingers. Y'all remember that?
Lisa, you can literally help people. You could help a baker in New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
You could help a hairdresser in Seattle. It doesn't matter where anyone is now. And to me, that's like the coolest. Everyone kept saying the internet connects the world and but we never like crossed that final threshold. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like we did. Now we're actually the world borderless.
I'm really hoping things stay this way, like 100%.
At least business-wise. Now I do miss.
Well, yeah. But business, does it really need to be a meeting when it could be a Zoom call?
Or an email. It could be an email.
Yeah, it could usually be an email.
Think about all the talent that, a company in California wanted to hire someone in South Carolina, and that person couldn't leave South Carolina. So they lost out on that talent because they were like, oh, you need to be in California. Now you don't lose out on talent. No matter where the talent is, you can have the job there.
Yeah. There are so many more companies now hiring remote positions, and I think it will stay, like bigger companies, and I believe that is going to remain. And I love that.
I do too.
I'm all about it.
I am too. Okay, well, this actually concludes our time. It went by so fast today. It was so fun.
This was amazing. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm glad you were on.
Thank you, Bree.
Thank you, Lauren.
Okay, so next week we're not here because it's Christmas Eve. Week after, we're not going to be here because it's New Year's Eve. But the week after that, we will return. I believe, I don't remember my guest off the top of my head, but I do believe it might be Demetria Howard. So keep out on the internet looking for that. Everyone have a wonderful Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you celebrate Hanukkah, tonight's last night. So enjoy that. And I think that's everything. Anything else, ladies?
That's it for me, y'all. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, all that good stuff.
Kwanzaa. Yes. Happy all the holidays.
Happy all of that, all the above.
All of them.